I can see when I'm ready to stream. That gaming can take me away. Driving that car or fighting that creature of the night like a dream. Take me away, I'm in a fantasy stream, in the game that is so extreme. Racing my mind, Ashton streams for all time, cause baby she's ready to stream.
I'm turning the PlayStation off. Oh boy. Oh boy. I hope everyone's ready for today. Hello everyone, welcome to another Live, Laugh, Love Wednesday. As I don't remember coining it that, but that is what it's called. But we're in for a treat this Wednesday. It's gonna be a good one. I have a feeling it's gonna be. Look, yeah, there you are, you're hanging off the edge.
Yeah.
Hi Ashton.
Ayo.
How are you? How was your weekend?
Oh,
It's more Live, Laugh, Love Wednesdays with Ashton Time, my dudes. Love the new weirdest games ever on Patreon. Hope you are having a fantastic day.
Stephen, thank you for the 100 bits. I had a lovely weekend. Saw lots of, it was very baby themed. I'm not having a baby, but there was a baby and a baby shower for two babies, two different babies. But today, ladies and gentlemen and everything else in between, we're reading this.
Oh yeah, let's go boy. Or gal.
Damn straight, Lolly. Thank you for the 100 bits. We are reading this book, The Haunted Vagina. What I have said about this book is that you can turn to any page in this. How many pages is this book? Oh, have I spilled tea on this? I don't drink tea. There's 90 pages of this book, and you can turn to any single one of them, and it will be a real fever dream. So I'm excited to read this all together.
Hello Ashton, hope you're well. Did you see what word the American Dialect Society made their 2022 word of the year?
I didn't. Oh, was it Ussy? Something like that. Was it Ussy? Thank you for the 100 bits. And thank you Tuesday 17th for resubscribing my Prime for 31 months. And to Relax Tiger, thank you for gifting 5 subs to the community. That's very nice of you. But yes, we're reading this book today. We've got Cringe Cam for when it gets a bit too cringe. And we're gonna do it. Cosmic Roach, you're the reason I started watching TripleJump as a queer fan person. I am not usually comfortable getting in my video game info / community in a place that is dominated by cis white men. As much as I happen to like these particular cis white men, you put it this device by the content and made it a lot more relatable to me. Oh, Cosmic Roach, thank you so much. That's very nice of you. Thanks. Cry Everton. But this is what we're going to read today. I'm ready. I don't know if you guys are. I don't know if you guys are ready. I have my 7-Up and I have a juice. Not much juice though. I haven't got much juice left. I couldn't want to put it back up again. I put too much squash in it and it's a bit too strong. So I'm a bit, you know. I've taken my shoes off. I'm not going to show you that because no feet on stream. Oh my gosh, so much is happening. Stephen, thank you for resubscribing 40 months in a row. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh, Nexus! Jesus! Jesus! I'm trying to read! Everything's popping around. It's crazy in here. Resubbing on a Wednesday episode. Resubbing on a Wednesday. It's a good day. There's many months of great laughs and fun times. We're happy everybody supports a wonderful channel and wonderful community. It's joy and you're all amazing. Thank you so much, Stephen, for resubscribing for 40 whole months. And Nexus, thank you so much for... Is that 10 gifted subs? That's a lot. Thank you so much. Sorry. P just told me something and I got distracted. Oh my god, there's so much happening. Stephen, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Cosmic Roach, your message is going to come soon, but there's so many gifted subs it's got to get through that it might take a minute, but we'll get to that very soon. Thank you guys for being so generous. About to beat your last record. Keep up the support. Twitch, what do you mean? Last record. Oh, we're almost at level 5. Oh my god, it goes up to level 6. I did not know that. It's not really a ghost. Well, I guess it kind of is a ghost story because it is haunted. So I guess you're right. It is a ghost story. A sexy ghost story, probably. This is not probably going to be one for the kids. So if your kids watching, maybe just turn this one off for now. Because it's not going to be for the kiddies. This one, I fear. Your vagina is haunted. I thought about making that the name of the stream, but I thought they might get demonetized on YouTube. I mean, it already is going to, but I figured, you know, don't be too crazy. There's literally, have we even got to the bits yet? I don't know if we have. Is it going to talk soon?
Yeah.
I am ready to cringe.
Good, there it is. We've got 5 more gifted subs. Oh my god. Oh, there's so much happening. Demented Space, thank you for subscribing with Prime. Oh boy. It could be a great way to start a conversation about bodies in your kids. It could be. But they might grow up thinking that all vaginas are haunted. Which, maybe they are. You know? Who am I to say that they're not all haunted? Do you know what I mean? Who am I to say? Should we begin the reading? Once again, we've got cringe cam. When it gets a bit too much. They aren't? Oh. They are. They are just, you know. Only some of them. Only some of them are. Mine's not had an exorcism. Anyway. Oh my god. Guys. Am I doing voices? Maybe. We'll see where the mood takes us. Addy. Thank you for those 5 gifted subs. We're literally so far behind. Even like the alerts can't keep up.
Yeah.
Thank you. I thought the glasses were done.
Time my dudes.
Damn straight.
TTJ triplets.
Thank you for 200 bits, Stephen. Can I do a voice for the vagina demon? We don't know if it's got a demon yet. It's not the possessed. It's not the possessed vagina, is it? It's the haunted vagina. There's probably going to be ghosts and stuff. But if there's a vagina demon, we'll give it a voice. It's like the music as well. I thought it was fitting.
Yeah.
So this is The Haunted Vagina by Carlton Mellick III. Chapter 1. I've been scared to have sex with Stacy ever since I discovered her vagina was haunted. What a fantastic opening sentence. Is everyone sitting comfortably? I forgot to ask. Is everyone sitting comfortably? Good. When we first met, I didn't notice her vagina was haunted at all. It seemed perfectly fine. Better than fine. It was great. At least for the first year. But after we got engaged and she moved in with me, I noticed odd sounds coming from her while she slept. At first, I just thought it was her snoring. Then I thought it was a television left on somewhere in the house. I heard voices in the dark. Whispers, then laughs, then cries, then howls. The sounds were muffled, but seemed to be becoming clearer and clearer with each passing night. Where the heck are those noises coming from? I asked Stacy one evening. She blinked herself awake. Huh? I hear voices coming from the walls, I said. Oh, she said. I'm serious, I said. They're not coming from the walls, she said. It's coming from me. From you? From inside me, she said, pulling off the covers and pointing at her crotch. I snorted at her. Listen, she said, pulling my head into her lap and pressing my ear against her vagina. Well, okay. It was like listening to the ocean. Oh boy, we're not even past the first page yet. And I'm already on the cringe cam. Ready? It was like listening to the ocean in a hairy flesh seashell. You're playing, he said. She giggled. It was all a joke. But then I heard it. How big is the font size? The font is quite big, which is quite good because I can't really read. Her magic conch. Then I heard it. A voice inside of her. I couldn't understand the words. A woman crying, babbling in a deranged language. Then she screamed into my ear, and I jumped out from between Stacy's legs. My girlfriend laughed at me, squinting her dark brown eyes. What the hell? I screamed. Told you, she said. What is that? A ghost, she said. What? I'm haunted, she said, touching her vagina and smiling. How did a ghost get in there? I've not got, there's no vagina demons yet. I'm going to do voices for the vagina demons, but right now I won't do voices for them because they're going to talk a lot. How did a ghost get in there? I don't know, she said. It's been in there for a long time now. Why don't you do anything about it? I asked. What can I do? I don't know. Call a priest? What's a priest gonna do? Stick a cross up there and cast the spirits out? Stacy said. This girl is hella flippant about having a haunted vagoo. Maybe. It's really not that big of a deal. I've gotten used to it. How? Actually, I kind of like it. I frowned at a sailboat on her wall behind her. What? Yeah, she said, spreading her legs across my lap. Who else has a haunted vagina? She flattened the bush of pubic hair and spread the lips to examine it. My other boyfriends thought it was kind of sexy. That was nice, wasn't it? That was nice for us all. I shook my head at her as she smiled. I found it repulsive, but the fact I was scared of her vagina seemed to turn her on. She made love to me after that. For her, it was the wildest sex we ever had. She had me pinned down underneath her, sucking on my crusty lower lip, gross, sliding my penis into her ghostly regions and getting off on the terrified look on my face. But for me, it was the most awkward sex I'd ever had. I swear I could feel strange things inside of her that night, ghostly breaths against the tip of my penis. Chapter 1, everyone. But we were madly in love. I didn't even consider leaving her because of her ghost vagina. She meant everything to me. I loved her this much. There's a little symbol there, but it's not the infinity symbol, so... I was showing my screen and zoom into your Twitch. Oh my god, wait! I was showing my stream in a Zoom meeting and your Twitch notification popped up. I am now having a conversation with my new colleagues about TripleJump and haunted vaginas. Adam, I'm so sorry! Oh yeah, is that the national anthem in the background? Perfect. Oh, everything I could have ever wanted. That means infinitely. I've been consumed by her ever since the day we met. We were strangers who somehow passed out on a city bus together, my head in her lap, her curly brown hair encasing me like a blanket, hot breath on the back of my neck. As she awoke, she said, "That was cosy," and I smiled at her. She was very tall, especially for an Asian girl, almost a foot taller than me, with silky curled hair and tiny oval glasses. Then she said she had a snuggly bed at her place if we wanted to continue sleeping. I agreed. I thought she wanted to have sex. The whole walk home my eyes were glossy at her, trying to hide my hard-on under my coat, but she really just wanted to sleep. It was late. Both of us worked the swing shift. We went into her studio apartment and the floor was covered with laundry that she insisted was all clean and stripped down to our shirts, underwear and socks. She was right. It was definitely a comfortable bed. It was the biggest, fluffiest bed I've ever been in. She snuggled me like a teddy bear all night. We didn't even know each other's names, but it was one of the nicest moments I've ever spent with another person. The next morning we introduced ourselves. "Steve," she said, hopping out of bed to the kitchen counter. I hate that name. I could see her cocoa nipples through her shirt. She must have taken her bra off sometime during the night. "Sorry," I said. "Haha," she said, eating Lucky Charms out of the box. "When do you want to do this again?" she asked me. I shrugged. "Tonight?" she asked. I nodded, pulling on my pants. On the way out the door, she said, "Meet you on the bus." For 3 weeks, we slept in the same bed together. We never had sex, we never kissed, we never took off more clothes than our pants. We just dreamed together. It's nice, isn't it? The conversations were brief. We didn't go on any dates. We didn't get to know each other. It was just a sleeping arrangement. To her, I was just a stuffed animal with a heartbeat. We're going back to the origin story now. Men writing women is my fave genre. Yeah. Cocoa Nipple sounds like a UK drag race contestant. It does. It does. You're right. Oh, Rich, thank you for subscribing with Prime. It is a choose your own adventure. It's not, but thank God. I think we're limited to the story that we have been given. But eventually we started to talk. I found out her favourite food was stuffed grape leaves and her favourite films were all Russian. She was born in Thailand but adopted by a wealthy African-American couple before she could walk, and spent most of her life in an upscale suburb outside Los Angeles. She spent 10 years at university here in Portland, getting degrees in every subject she could acquire. She wasn't interested in a career, she just liked learning new things, and her parents paid for everything until she turned 30. That's when they cut her off. She had to drop out to get a job. Unfortunately, her degrees in philosophy, history, Russian, anthropology, psychology and humanities were useless in the job market. I don't feel like they would all be useless. So she worked as one of the hipster clothing stores downtown. That's when she decided her real passion in life was fashion design. She was saving her money to go back to school ever since. I never went to college, I told her. Never ever? She asked. I was busy trying to be a musician. I sang and played guitar. I wanted to be like Beck or the guy from Soul Coughing. But after 10 years of going nowhere, I gave up. Crowds just didn't like me. Nightclubs stopped booking me for shows. I kept playing my music at open mic nights at Produce Row, but eventually quit. I got sick of the lack of applause. I got sick of people ignoring me, talking at their tables like I wasn't even there. It was just a big waste of time. Did playing your music make you happy? She asked. Yes, I said. It wasn't a waste of time, she said. That's when I realised I was in love with her. Oh man, when are we going back to the vagina stuff? Skipping the next page, it's boring and it's got some about Nazis and I don't want to read that. I haven't had sex with, this is chapter 2, we're on chapter 2 now. I haven't had sex with Stacy for over a month now, but I'm still crazy for her. I still love everything about her. Her smell, her smile, the sound of her voice. She has a unique way of doing things that are so cute I want to cry. Like this is the way she eats a burger from Carl's Jr. First, she'll wipe off all the mustard, mayonnaise and ketchup with a plastic butter knife and swirl it into a puddle on the burger's wrapper. Then, she'll disassemble the burger and cut the buns into small squares. She'll stab a piece of the bun with a fork, then stab one other ingredient, either a chunk of meat, some... Whoops, I've knocked the stream deck off. She'll stab a piece of the bun with a fork, then stab one of the other ingredients, either a chunk of meat, some cheese, a pickle, a tomato or lettuce, then she'll swirl the food in the sauce and eat it. I like my food separated, she always says. I like to control the flavour. I don't really understand it. I think someone, another character called him a Nazi. Something about coat. I don't know, we're ignoring that. We're ignoring it. I'm on board of that page. She does that with all of her food. Pizza, burritos, sandwiches, lasagna, even curry stews. It's incredibly cute. I also have a quirky way of eating. Whenever I take a bite of food, I never let my lips touch the eating utensil. Just use my teeth. Stacy doesn't think that's cute though. She hates the sound of my teeth scraping against a metal fork. She always tells me to stop. I don't stop though, because she's even cuter when she's annoyed. Other cute things about her. She pets every animal she ever sees in public. She dances naked to Prince. She licks her glasses clean before she reads. She adores public transportation and gets excited whenever she sees a bus stop or the light rail. She gives tips to everyone, including cooks, bus drivers, fast food employees and flight attendants, whether they are allowed to accept tips or not, though she usually tips pretty low. She calls water pouring from faucets waterfalls. She collects dollhouses. She plays with her eyelashes. She loves goldfish and likes to stare at them in the bowls, making fish faces at them, mimicking them when they're open and close their mouths as if to communicate to her. The only thing that kind of annoys me is that she tends to order steak at seafood restaurants, lobster at steakhouses, burgers at Mexican restaurants, fajitas at burger joints, sushi at Chinese restaurants, chow mein at Japanese restaurants, and hot dogs wherever they're available at any menu at any restaurant. Especially when she drags me out to eat German food, which I hate, and then orders a chicken Caesar salad on clam chowder. She does the same thing to me with Russian food, but she has so much fun talking to the employees in Russian that I completely enjoy myself even when I have to eat beet salad and ham pickle soup. She's the best person in the world to be around when she's happy. Let's not forget, everyone, there's a demon in her vagina. It's time to crack a 7-Up, I would say. I think we're getting back to the ghosts now. Oh man, this VOD's getting demonetised. The VOD's getting demonetised, absolutely for sure. Maybe I won't even be able to upload this. Let's find out, eh? Chapter 3. After a while, not having sex has taken a toll on our relationship. I don't see what the big deal is, she says. I'm just not comfortable with it, I say. I tell her we can do other things. Both of us are interested in anal sex, but neither of us are interested in giving anal sex, but neither of us are interested in receiving it. She tried to strap on with me before and it was far from pleasurable. I'm not going to do that again. Same goes with oral sex. We both like to receive it, but none of us wants to give it. Come on. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. If you're going to receive, you've got to give. Normally we can compromise on oral. If I give it to her, she will give it to me. Unfortunately, I'm not willing to go near her vagina anymore. Not with my penis and not with my tongue. Oh no, this next one is a bit... No. No! It's not like you have to stick your tongue inside me, she says. You can just lick my glowworm. Glowworm is the pet name for her clitoris. It's on the outside, she says. Oh, no. But still, I say, I'll keep my legs closed, she says. You won't even hear it. Yeah, glowworm. I don't reply. She turns away from me and takes off her work clothes as if I've agreed. Folding her glasses and putting them back in their case, her movements are cold and mechanical. She must be pissed. Give me the silent treatment like the time I was washed. It glows? Have I misunderstood what the clit is this whole time? Oh dear. Oh dear. Giving me the silent treatment like the time I washed her white fuzzy coat wrong, or the time she found pictures of my old girlfriends and I wouldn't let her throw them out. Weird. On those occasions, she'd ignore me and lock herself in the bedroom. On this occasion, however, she wants to get intimate. She won't look me in the eyes as she unbuttons my shirt and pulls off my pants. She picks me up and turns me upside down, then plops us on the bed. How did she pick you up and turn you upside down? I couldn't do that. I'm weak. I'm a little bit regretting the decision to stream this. Just a smidgen. Just a scoosh. God damn it. I don't know how she's able to lift me. She's much taller than me, and weighs a bit more, but she's not muscular. She's soft and slender. Both of us are. In 69 position, it's a bit awkward. I'm on top this time and her legs are closed. My tongue scratches against wiry black pubic hair while searching for her glowworm. I feel a bit safe with her thighs pressed together tightly, but my tongue has to dig between them to find the right spot. Oh man. Oh my god. Okay. She kisses the back of my thighs. Because of my height, her mouth can't really reach my penis while I'm on top, but she kisses my legs and licks my ass. It's not working, I say, as she nibbles on my scrotum. She lifts my ass and twists her neck until she can get beneath me and take my penis into her mouth. I mostly just feel teeth, a bad angle. Her front teeth dig into my skin, killing any sort of erection I almost had. Her legs part slightly. I'm able to find her clit and swirl my tongue around it. She's more wet than I expected. Must be horny as hell. I don't have to do much. She hasn't had sex for a long time. Sex for that so long that riding a bicycle will probably give her an orgasm. Nibbles! Nibbles! I don't know, this bit is my least favourite bit. She groans around my penis. I look back to see she's making a fish face at me. Fish gets around my dick like she would make while looking at a goldfish bowl. I don't know if she's trying to be sexy with that face or what, but for some reason, it gives me a full erection. Maybe it's just exciting to see her beautiful tan lips wrapped around me. I go back to the glowworm and suck it into my mouth, slapping it and the skin around to steep into my mouth as it will stretch. Then I release it, then suck again. I do that to the rhythm of her blowjob, and inside of my mouth, I tickle it with my tongue and the glowworm dances happily between my lips. The music is so much worse. The music is, I want to sink into a hole and want the ground to swallow me up. Stacy spreads her legs a little more. I don't know if on purpose or by accident. I can see the crack of her vagina completely now, staring up at me as I lick. There's a rumbling inside of it, like a mild earthquake in the distance. The lips spread and a voice calls out to me. I lick Stacy as fast as I can, trying to get her to orgasm quickly so I can get away from her vagina. The voice grows louder. I struggle on top of her, but Stacy grips me by the waist so I can't go anywhere and takes me deeper into her mouth. Oh man. Sorry everyone, it's just distracting. Good. I can't go anywhere and take me deep into her mouth. I close my eyes, forget the sights and sounds, just concentrate on the feelings. Concentrate on my flesh inside of Stacy's mouth. Concentrate on her flesh inside of my mouth. I'm getting close to orgasm. Stacy is too. I let my worries slide completely as she squeezes her thighs tightly, preparing to come. Something bumps inside her. Something pushes at my chin and knocks the glowworms out of my lips. Pissed off, Stacy slaps the side of my ass as hard as she can. I continue. Her belly pushes against me like there's something moving in her womb. The flesh balloons outwards. I try to ignore it. Stacey's doing something perfectly with her mouth. I don't feel her teeth at all, and she's able to take me all the way down. There's no way I'm ever going to stop her. Her belly expands, lifting me up several inches. I think Stacey realizes something odd is going on too, but she can't stop either. She feels 9 months pregnant now, her skin stretching to its limit. No, it keeps stretching. She gets almost twice as pregnant. Stacy orgasms and jerks her head back, cries out against my asshole, then she puts me back in her mouth and whines as she sucks. Something is moving inside of her, I'm shifted side to side, but I'm so close, I explode into her mouth as a hand explodes out of her vagina. Her hand's out now. I shriek and jump backwards, landing on top of Stacy's head. Landing on top of Stacy's head? I thought we were standing up at this point. I don't know what's going on. I shriek and jump backwards, landing on top of Stacy's head. My penis shoved completely down her throat, coming inside her. She gags, choking, and tells me off. I hit the floor. Stacy... No, not going to read that. I look up at her as she coughs, mouth wide open, unable to say a word. She stands and examines her belly as it shuffles. It moves like it's filled with a million cockroaches. And between her legs, a skeletal hand is reaching out. What the flip? Finally comes out of me as I crawl away. Stacy just watches her body in amazement as the hand clutches onto her legs and pulls. Another hand emerges and grabs her other thigh, trying to pull itself out of there. Then it dawns on her. Yes, Stacy, this is actually happening to you. She looks at me with wide, dilated pupils, frightened at her own vagina. Help, she says, her voice a soft croak. Let me move the camera down because I've gone walkabouts. And by that I mean I've tried to leave. I can't breathe, I'm laughing so hard. I'm glad you guys are you enjoying this? I leap to my feet and grab the skeletal hands away from her thighs. I have no idea what I was doing. I pull the skeletal arms and the skull pops out at me, animated, chattering its teeth. Stacy grabs onto the bed frame and I pull as hard as I can, ripping the skeleton halfway out. It throws me back, thrashes at Stacy and knocks her to the floor. I watch the skeletal figure waist deep inside of my girlfriend, claws the hardwood floor, crawling out from between her legs. Stacy is crying in panic now, her face bright red. How many pages? We're on page 21 and we've got 70 more pages to go. So prepare yourselves. Her mouth drooling wide open, her eyes so squinty wet that she can't see anything anymore. Do something, she cries, but I don't know what to do. I pick up a turtle-shaped lamp and I hit the skeleton with it. The turtle's head pops off. I hit it harder, then harder, until I find the right angle to break its skull. I cut my hand on the shattered lamp. Blood spills onto the corpse. It's still moving. Flesh begins to grow on its bones like moss, lightning fast. The lamp is in little pieces and my blood is leaking everywhere. Stacy screams in Russian at me, angry profanities that I don't understand. JL, thank you for resubscribing. Seems an apt time to share my 16-month subiversary. Good. My face is really red. It's also quite warm in here. So, this was sent to us in the Tatapil. I can't remember who sent it, but whoever did, you're sick in the head. I step away from the corpse. It's growing organs. Blood-red balls fill the eye sockets of the skull, and the skeleton looks up at me. It releases a deep moan. I run to the corner of the room and pick up a nightstand, knocking clocks, glasses, a jar of coins all over the floor. The skull watches me and cries at me as I lower the nightstand onto its neck, and I drop all of my weight on top of it. A loud crack. It stops moving. It stops moaning. I turn over the nightstand. Its spinal cord has been severed, its head crushed. Blue ink dribbles out of its mouth. Stacy whines, shrieking at the corpse halfway inside her. Her hands twitch inches away from it, wanting it out of her, but she doesn't want to touch it. I pull on the corpse, but it pulls Stacy with it. She cries. I pull again. She just moves again. Hold on to the leg of the bed, I say in the calmest possible voice. She's hiccuping now, leaning back to hold on to the bed. She doesn't watch as I pull it out of her. With each tug, she cries out. I cry as well, with my sliced open hand rubbing against the thing's ribcage. Once it slips all the way out, she leaps to her feet and runs out of the room. I look down at the body. It seems to be melting. Its flesh turns to blue, red and orange mucus, its bones melting into egg whites, crumbling into baking soda. I drape a big fluffy blanket over its body and leave the room. Black Shield Legion, thank you for the 92 bits. Here's my last bits. Skeleton with balls for eyes, ink for blood, bit different, I guess. I mean, it is. Anyway, we're on chapter 4 now, everyone. Chapter 4 out of 17. So let's keep going. Let's keep going, everyone. Stacy is standing in the corner of the living room behind the couch, covering herself with the curtain. She doesn't realise that people walking on the sidewalk outside can see her nude backside. Let's go for a drink, I tell her. She nods her head and goes for her purse, digging through its contents, not looking for anything in particular. I get us some pants and t-shirts from the hamper in the laundry room. Here, I say. She sniffles and puts her purse down, then gets dressed even. Strangely, she comes out of it unscathed. My hand is still bleeding everywhere. I can't feel much pain, must be in shock, but her stomach has flattened back to normal. No stretch marks, no tearing of her vagina, no blood. Some claw marks are on her inner thighs, but they're just white scratches. The claws just barely broken the skin. I bandage up my wound and put on the smelly crusty clothes. Ew. We go into the garage and slip on some junky old tennis shoes that we plan to give to Goodwill. Ready? I ask, wiping away her tears. She doesn't hear me, busy examining a spider's web that she recently formed inside the doorway of her old doll's house. We go out to the Kennedy School across town. It's an old elementary school that was bought by a brewing company. All the classrooms have been turned into bars, restaurants, tobacco lounges and hotel rooms. She's not twice as pregnante anymore. Yeah, it's true. Stacey's not a big fan of the breweries in Portland. She just doesn't like beer at all. She prefers drinking cocktails in the Pearl District. But I love breweries, and I need a very strong brewery beer right now. I'm also thinking, if she's not in a condition to go back home tonight, we can just stay in one of the school's guest rooms. She doesn't speak to me for a couple of hours. In the Cypress room at the Kennedy School, I feed her screwdrivers with freshly squeezed orange juice, and I drink the Sunflower IPA. It's nice, isn't it, everyone? I try to ask her questions, try to learn more about how the heck a man-sized creature could crawl out of her vagina, where the heck that thing came from, and how long it's all been going on. But she doesn't know. She tells me everything that has to do with her haunted insides. She tells me that ever since she was a little kid, she heard noises coming from inside her. She thought it was normal. Her parents never noticed, or pretended not to notice. When she was 6 years old, for a few months she had an imaginary friend who used to come out of her vagina to play with her. Another little girl, about... Actually, I just got home from work and I'm very confused. I don't know what you're confused about. The haunted vagina. Anyway. When she was 6 years old, for a few months, she had an imaginary friend who used to come out of her vagina to play with her. Another little girl, about her age, with paper white skin and funny slimy horns on her head. She doesn't remember much from that time, but she always assumed the girl was just her imagination. She thought maybe it was just a young mind giving a form to the voices she'd heard coming from inside of her. Now she was not so sure. When she was a sophomore in high school, she realised that her vagina was different from other vaginas. Her first love was a girl named Charlie, who was a nerdy freshman who had always spoken fake French accent. The first time they were naked together, giggling and scared, Stacy's vagina called out to Charlie and knocked the French accent right out of her. "That's flipped up," the girl said. Stacy didn't understand. She tried to get closer to Charlie, but she pushed her back. "Don't touch me," the girl said, and they never spoke to each other ever again. She stayed away from girls after that, made friends with guys, but most high school guys always wanted to get into her pants, so she only hung out with the Dungeons & Dragons skater kids who were nice and somewhat fun, but most importantly, they were too shy to solicit sex from her. In college, she ended up getting drunk and sleeping with some wannabe beat poet English major. She warned him about having a haunted vagina, but that only turned him on. After they screwed, he said that it was the most amazing thing he'd ever done. They dated for a while, and he worshipped her vagina. He told all of his friends about her and would even have them listen to the voices through her pants. All of them thought she was brilliant. Love that we're not saying the F word of all things. Hey. You know, got to draw a line somewhere. She brought magic into their worlds. She was proof that the drunken philosophical discussions of rebellion against reality were somewhat correct. And when she got bored of her boyfriend, she moved on to one of his friends. And when she got bored with him, she would move on to another. All of them treated her like a goddess. It is really nice that she gave the guy all the exposition he's passing on to us. You're right, it is really nice of him to pass it on to us and for her to give it. She stayed in college until she was 30, becoming somewhat of a legend on campus. Near the end of her college years, she started going to goth parties and charging money to all the little goth boys and girls nearly 8 to 10 years younger than her for the chance to listen to her vagina for a few minutes. There would be lines out the door to see her. Eventually, a rumour went around that it was all fake. She had some sort of wireless speaker inside of her playing tape-recorded noises. Nobody believed her after that. She was no longer dating any of the college kids since they were all too young, so there was no one who'd gotten intimate enough to back up her story, and she didn't really care to prove it to them. A few guys still paid to listen to her vagina, but once she realised they were just doing it to rub the sides of their heads between her legs, she stopped doing it completely. Ugh. That's all the information she had for me. It all seemed harmless to her before, something that made her unique and special, but she'd never been scared of it. She might have been scared that people would find out about it as a teenager, but she never scared of what might be lurking inside of her. She drinks screwdriver after screwdriver until she can barely walk. Chapter 5. Apparently, it took them a year for her to tell him. Okay. We're drunkenly relaxed, wandering through the halls of the school/brewery, staring at all the murals of scary dancing children with faces of 80-year-olds. I go to the front desk and get us a room. We're going to stay here tonight, I tell Stacy. She sways at me, leaning her head back with her eyes closed and a dumb smile on her face. I get a picture of Hammerhead from the movie theatre, which used to be a school's auditorium, and take my giant drunken girlfriend into the room. I continue drinking, fidgeting with my hand wound that's finally stopped bleeding and it's beginning to itch. Sitting in a chair next to the chalkboard. The room that was once a classroom. The room was once a classroom. They left the chalkboards on the walls. Employees have drawn flowers on the chalkboards in red and yellow chalk with the words, "Welcome to Kennedy School," written in girly cursive. Stacy sits next to me on the edge of the bed and tries some of my beer, then spits it back into the glass. Yuck, she says. I wanted the raspberry beer. You didn't say you wanted anything, I told her. I won the raspberry. You want me to go get you some? She nods her head sloppily against my shoulder. Okay, I'll get another pitcher. I decide to get her a 22-ounce bottle of Ruby at the front desk rather than a pitcher. The school had gotten pretty quiet. The restaurant is closed. It's just a few minutes before beer o'clock. Looking at the pictures on the walls of the school when the school first opened decades ago, little monochrome children kneeling in the dirt holding their school projects. A few of those same school projects are a few feet away behind glass. Crudely painted birdhouses. I wonder about all of those kids. Most of them must be dead now. Their birdhouses like ghosts they left behind. I get back to the room. Can you see where this is going? Because I think I can. Steve, Stacy calls out as I open the door. I turn the corner. Her pants are off. She's probing her vagina with her arm, almost all the way up to her elbow. That's really bloody flexible. That's insane. Did she dislocate her arm? What are you doing? I ask. She laughs at me. Look, she says, pulling her vaginal lips open. They are stretchy like rubber. Then she laughs hysterically. I chuckle too in a nervous kind of way. I didn't know I could do that before. She lets the lips go and they slap back into place. Her head wobbles at me. She's way too drunk. I hide her beer behind the bed. I take her hands away from her vagina and try to put her pants back on. No, she says, kicking her pants away. Stacy! She laughs at me. I keep trying to put her pants back on, but she just kicks and laughs. Then she sits up and looks at me. I want you to look inside, she says. I snicker like it was a joke. I can't see for myself, she says. I want you to tell me what it looks like in there, if you can see ghosts. I look up at her cute brown eyes and I can't tell her no. She leans back on the bed and stretches out her vagina lips again. The hole is big enough to fit a football through. I bend down and I look inside. See anything? She says. No, I say, just a fleshy cavity. Oh no, the music stopped. Best put that back on, eh? Can't have it, can't have us sitting here with no music on. That would be Weird, eh? Anyway, next thing. Stacy spreads her lips further. I help her, pushing the labia apart, peering in. The hole might be wide at the opening, but it shrinks to the size of a pea only inches within. I dig my hand inside, but my hands are dry and abrasive. Ow, she says. She builds spit into her mouth, then rubs it inside of her as a quick lubricant. I slide my hands in, both of them, and spread the flesh apart as wide as I can. It stretches out to about a basketball width. I look within. There's a pin of light from deep inside of her. I think it's weirder with the music. Well, we're keeping the music. We're keeping the music, all right? Maybe a reflection of the lamp against a pool of moisture? No, it's some kind of light. What do you think it is, I ask. Maybe it's the ghost, she says. No, I don't think so. It's just some kind of light. Stacy lets go of her labia and retrieves the beer that I had hidden from her. She cracks open against the edge of the table and takes a chug. I drink a pint from my pitcher. We sip our drinks for a while. The more Stacy drinks, the more sober she seems to become. The more I drink, the more R-word I become. She's used the R-word that I will not say, because that's not an appropriate word. You think your head hurts? I'm reading it. It's not breaking terms of service. I'm reading a book, you know. I don't think it's terms of service. I guess we'll find out. I want you to go in there, Stacy tells me, calmer than she's been all night. I don't know what she means at first, my mind lost in a game of solitaire. I can't just forget about this. No one made me read it. Yeah, no, it's not. All right? I'm doing it out of my own purpose. I can't forget about this and get on with the rest of my life. I've got to find out what's going on in there. What do you want me to do about it? The skeleton thing was almost bigger than you, she says. If it could fit through it, then you can fit. What? I think my vagina was a gateway of some kind. The light that you saw must be the light at the end of the tunnel. The entrance to another world. I'm not going in there. I laugh at her. Steve, she says, holding my knee. You have to. I can't possibly figure out what's going on without your help. I chug the last of my beer, snickering. There's no way I'm agreeing to this. If you love me, she says, you'll do it. She's completely serious. She's looking at me like it's the ultimate test of our love. If I don't do it, she'll leave me for somebody who will. My voice is shaky. I can't. Please, she says, angry-faced at me, gripping my knee as if to hurt me. I stand up and go to the bathroom. She follows. All you have to do is crawl to the end of the tunnel and look out, she says to me while I'm urinating. Then come right back and tell me what you see. Nothing will happen to you, I promise. Just as far as the light, I ask? Yes, she nearly screams to reply at me. I finish pissing and flush the toilet. I'll give it a try, I tell her. For you. She closes her eyes and nods her head at me. So just in case you're just joining us, this man's about to climb inside of his girlfriend's vagina because it's haunted and a gateway to another world. Okay? We all on the same page? Stacy tries taking off my shirt. What are you doing? I ask. You'll go in easier without your clothes on. I shake my head at her but allow her to remove my clothes. For some reason, she takes off all of her clothes too. This isn't going to work, I say. That thing was supernatural and I'm not. We'll make it work, she says. What if I suffocate? What if you stop being stretchy once I'm in there? Shh, she says, leading me to the bed. It's going to work. You'll see. She climbs onto the bed and lies on her back, staring at me with her cold, dark eyes. She spreads her legs like she wants me to flip her. Then she masturbates. Do you think this is hot or something? I ask. She bites her lip. I need to moisten up. I laugh out loud. I'm so drunk that I actually believe this is going to happen. Then she pulls apart her lips as wide as she can, about 14 inches. Her hip pops out of the joint like the jaws of a snake opens up for its prey. "Come on," she says. She's so wet that she can't hold on to the sides very well. She keeps slipping out of her fingers. I crawl onto the bed in front of her, kiss her. She tongues my cheeks sloppily. I make a fin with my hand and slide that in first, then my other hand, then separate her opening as wide as I can. I look up at her. She doesn't say anything. She just licks her trembling lips. I notice that I am also trembling. My hands shake like it's the first time I've ever had sex. If I get claustrophobic, I'm coming back out. I tell her. She pushes my face down into her crotch like she does when she wants to have oral sex. I push my arms through to my elbows. I can see them moving inside of her belly. Then I put the top of my head into the opening and push. Stacy cries out and begins masturbating again. I can feel her fingers against the back of my head. I don't know if it turns her on if my scratchy hair is hurting her and she needs more lubrication. I push again. She cries out again. It's impossible. I'm stuck. I shove again but don't budge an inch. I pull out. "What?" Stacy says. "It's not working," I say. "Yes, it will," she says. "There's no way," I tell her. "It's going to happen whether you like it or not." Good God. That's a pretty legit reaction. We're all trembling. But not in a sexy way. Trembling out of fear that I'm going to be cancelled for reading this book. Okay. She's not giving up for anything. She takes scissors out of her purse, the ones she used as toenail clippers, and cuts off all of my hair. The dull blade mixed with her furious movement makes this a painful flipping experience, even with all the alcohol in my system. Then she shaves it down smooth with a disposable pink razor. I think I'm beginning to feel hungover. She greases up my entire body with some girly skin stuff, lotion or oil or something. It mostly absorbs into my skin, but I do feel significantly lubed. "This time it's going to work," she says to me, kissing my bald head. She lubes up her vagina as well. "Push as hard as you can this time. Plunge into me. Don't worry, it won't hurt." I don't care about it hurting. I'm more worried about suffocating, or what is waiting for me within. At least I haven't any noises coming out of there. She positions us on the bed and shoves my head into her crotch again. This time she pulls into me as I push into her. Arms first, then they slide in very easily. Top of my head also goes in without ease. It makes her cry out, makes her masturbate, but I doubt I'll get much further than that. I push a little, move an inch, push again, move an inch. My nose is practically in her arsehole now. I hesitate to go any further. There's no way I can breathe in there. The corpse that came out of it was undead. It didn't need to breathe. Stacy can tell I'm not trying anymore. I sense her anger building. She smacks at my arms and her belly in a come on kind of way. I try to pull out again, but Stacy lunges at me. She stands up and squats over me, dropping all of her weight down on top of me, and I find myself sliding up into her abysmal cavity until I'm up to my chest. Her vaginal lips closing tight around my armpits. She squats down on me harder until I'm in up to my belly. Holy crap, this is really happening. I'm really going all the way inside of her. My face pressed against her wet flesh, my eyes closed. I can breathe, but just barely. My face is hot with my breath. Stacy screams out and plops onto her back again, masturbating furiously against my lower spine. I position my head face forward to try and open my eyes, but with the vaginal juice burning them. The vaginal juice burns them. I can hear Stacy's muffled whines on the other side of the flesh. I can feel her grabbing her breasts against the back of my shoulders. I can feel her holding me inside of her belly as a way to comfort me for one last time before my voyage. I push off with my feet. It seems looser the farther in I get. After a few inches, I feel Stacy's hand grab my arse and shove me from behind. I straighten out as my buttocks go through, now lying inside of her. She grabs my legs and jostles them in, using my ankles as handles. I squirm forward. Next thing I know, Her lips close up around my wiggling toes. Chapter 6. It dawns on me. I'm all the way inside of her. I'm like a human penis. That thought actually gives me an erection. The fleshy walls around me begin rumbling. I can hear Stacy outside masturbating in a rage. Her flesh shivers, sweats all around me. I wriggle forward and the walls quake in reaction to my movement. After a couple feet of wriggling, the cave opens up a bit. I'm kink shaming. It's still tight around me, but I'm able to use my legs to kick off. The cave quakes harder. I open my eyes. The light is up ahead. I move towards it. Soon the vaginal tunnel loosens up enough for me to get on my hands and knees, so I crawl through, but I have to push the meat ceiling up with the back of my head as I go. This seems to drive Stacy crazy. Surely this is the worst thing that's ever happened to anyone. Yeah, maybe. Meat ceiling. I can't tell how far away I am. Oh, I crawled maybe 20 feet. The tunnel has gotten so loose I could probably stand up and walk in the hunched over kind of way, but I probably wouldn't be able to keep my balance on the flabby ground. I'm so far away from the entrance that I shouldn't possibly be able to feel Stacy masturbating anymore, but I still do. Rumbling all around me, I can still hear her moaning through the skin. I can't tell how far away I am from the light. Could be halfway there, could be a mile away. No, I see it. It's right there, not 10 feet in front of me. A hole, a very small hole. The cave gets smaller the closer I get to the opening. Maybe it leads to another vagina. Maybe this is a tunnel between dimensions connected by two women's vaginas. Perhaps I will arrive in the world as a skeleton and will scare the hell out of some poor woman as I crawl out of her. Maybe the skeleton that came out of Stacy was that girl's boyfriend. I shove myself towards the hole and stick a finger through the opening. The walls shudder around me. I just need to peek through, then I can turn around and go back. I get up to the opening and peer through with one eye. Nothing, just light. I put my hands through and pull back the sides. A sky. I stick my head out. The sides slip out of my hands, wrap around my neck in a comforting choke. I look down. I'm sticking out of the edge of some kind of cliff, about 15 or 20 feet off the ground. Stacy was right. Her vagina is some kind of gateway to another dimension. The sky is cloudy and purplish, no sun at all. Other than that, I see green grass, a forest, an old rotten wooden fence, but that's all I can see. Time to turn back. Time to turn back. The walls are trembling around me. The cliff is also trembling. The trees and grass begin shuffling like it's an earthquake. The walls squeeze tight around me. Stacy's having an orgasm. I hear her voice in the wind, moaning as the walls get tighter and tighter. Then fluids flow from the flesh around me, and the cave squeaks me out, spitting me into the world below. Okay, chapter 7. I wake up, spit blood and soil out of my mouth. Thunder is in the clouds. I look up. The cliff goes as high as I can see into the clouds. I can't see the opening up there, but I can guess it's near the black rocks that have been darkened by moisture. Not too high up, but it was much higher than I thought. This has given me enough serotonin for the whole week. Oh, I'm glad. This is what at least I could do. I try to climb up the cliffside, but the surface is too sheer. My feet can't get any footholds. I get 3 feet off the ground and slip, cutting my toe on the way down and twisting my ankle a bit. This is seriously flipped. I look around. Where the hell am I? The face of the cliff is covered in dozens of claw marks. Must have been the skeletal creature. I examine this forest. There could be more of them around here. There is an old fence buried in mud and rot, indicating some kind of civilization is nearby, or had been nearby at one time. I continue my effort to climb the wall. No luck. My feet are scraped, bruised, bloodied, and I think I've seriously injured my big toe. What the flip am I gonna do? The wind bites my naked back. I curl into a ball to protect myself from the cold, shivering and growing goose flesh. A woman's voice is carried on the wind, crying out some unintelligible words. I leap off the ground and climb the cliff furiously, but slip, and my belly is scraped against the cliff as I fall back down. The voice continues, only softer. It sounds like she's arguing with somebody, but I don't understand the words. The Lion, the Witch, and the Vagina. I've got to find something that will help me climb out of here. Maybe I can make a ladder out of the fence. I try to get the wood out of the ground, but the wood folds in half when I pull it. It's about as sturdy as cardboard. I go to another side of the fence and push on the wood. It breaks in my hands. It's been devoured by termites and is soggy in the middle. Maybe there's a fallen log in the forest. I step carefully into the woods, making sure I don't step on any sharp rocks. Making sure nothing jumps out at me. Looking back every 5 seconds to ensure I don't lose sight of the opening of the cliff. The forest is silent. The only sound is my breath, my feet hitting the ground, and the wind in the leaves. The voice in the wind comes and goes. Sometimes I can almost make out a word or two, but can't comprehend what it's saying. It might be somebody who can help me, somebody human, but I'd rather not run into anyone here. Who knows what kind of creatures live inside of Stacy's vagina? The wind dies down, the voice gone. There's some kind of building up ahead. Oh, it's a cliff. It's a cliff. Yeah, exactly. I approach it, a triangle of red peeking out of the trees. I approach it slowly, taking time between steps to listen to what might be lurking in the forest. It's an old log cabin. I step out of the woods into a clearing, an acre of land where the trees have been cut down to stumps. I cover my privates as I tiptoe towards the side of the building. It's very quiet, no sign of life, not even birds in the air. I look in through the window, but it's dark inside. Walking around to the front, I stare across the clearing. The distance is just forests. There's no roads or trails leading to the cabin. There's no real sign of anybody ever having lived here. I go to the door, knock twice. Hello? No response. I feel stupid for asking. I feel better than I did. Inside it's mostly dark. There's a hairball of light coming from its windows, but it doesn't brighten much. I wait for my eyes to adjust. It is musty. The floor is covered in dust. Actually, it looks more like ash than dust, almost an inch deep. It sticks to the bottom of my heels as I cross the room. The furniture is wooden and poorly crafted, like it was built by a sloppy pioneer. The cabin seems to have been made for a single person. There's a single chair, a small table, and a crooked bed with blue mouldy sheets. On a shelf there are old dolls, a dozen of them hiding behind cobwebs. I look through a chest for some clothes. There are several strips of cloth, more like rags. At the bottom I find a pair of overalls. They're as hard as raw hide, but I put them on. Kinda large for me and gritty against my privates, but it'll keep out the cold. I also find some boots under the bed, caked with mud on the inside and out, but they're better than walking barefoot. I might even be able to climb the cliff with these. There's nothing else of use here, except maybe a weapon? There's a rifle on the wall. I pick it up, examine it, rusted. Even if it had bullets for it, the thing probably would explode in my face if I tried to fire it. There's a knife on the wooden table. It'll have to do. On the way out, I see some movement glistening through the cracked window. There's a figure walking across the clearing past the cabin. Human, I think. I hide behind the wall and peek out only one eye out of the window to watch it. It's not exactly human. Its skin is white and red. A female walking nude casually through the grass. Some kind of weird bunny ears sticking out of their head. She doesn't make a sound, she just passes the cabin and disappears into the woods. She leaves behind a floral scent that tickles my nostrils as if I just inhaled a swarm of tiny fluttering moths. It's not like a perfume, more like flower sweat. Stacy! Maybe it is Stacy. Maybe it is. I wait a few minutes, then leave the cabin. I try to look through the forest to see where the girl came from, where she went to, but there aren't any houses that I can see. There's a shed behind the cabin. I go to that. It is filled with old mud-caked tools, including an axe. That's what I need. I drop the knife and take the axe. It's old but still strong enough to fend off attackers. In the back of the shed there's a ladder. Exactly what I needed. I pull it out, but the wood is soft. 2 of the rungs pop off before I get out of the shed. I'm not going to climb the cliff with this. even on the top rung, if it could hold me, I'd still need to climb 5 feet before I could reach the opening. It's worth a try. I run through the woods as fast as I can, hoping the ladder doesn't break apart on me. Carrying the axe at the same time makes it awkward, but I'm not dropping my weapon. The ladder falls to pieces once I get to the side of the cliff, but I bent down to pick up the pieces and I reassemble it. Then lean it against the edge of the cliff and give it a try. It almost works. A few of the rungs are sturdy enough to hold my weight, but the rest just break off when I step on them. I tried climbing without the ladder, but just ripped open the wound on my hand. The axe. I climb the ladder as far as I can safely, then strike the cliff with an axe. I put all my weight on the axe and put the very little weight on the weak rungs. Then I pull the axe out and strike again, higher, and continue up. I can see the opening now. Well, not the opening, but I can see where the earth turns to flesh up there. That's where the hole is. At the top rung, the ladder breaks into halves. Some rungs on one half, some rungs on the other. Many of them dropping on the ground, but I'm supported by the axe for now, balancing. It's not too far from the fleshy part. I might be able to drop the ladder and climb it on my own. Balancing the ladder just right, so it can hold me up just for a moment, I pull the axe out of the cliff and strike higher. Blood gushes through the rock and onto my legs. One foot slips, and the ladder drops, but I'm still holding on to the axe handle. I find some footholds in the rock and climb the last few feet, using the axe as support. The blood oozes slowly. It doesn't affect my climb, but has an intense copper stink. My hand reaches a hole. I force myself inside. Moisture or no moisture, I shove myself within, leaving the axe on the side of the cliff. Chapter 8. We're on chapter 8 now. Man. Chapter 8. It's tough moving through the fleshy tunnel in the overalls towards Stacy's vagina. I don't see the light ahead, so I move blindly through the meat. It gets moist, but I'm still not able to slide through. Whoops. Okay. About 20 feet in, I start to hear Stacy's screams ahead of me. Her voice vibrates all around my body. I keep pushing. The tunnel bends down. I can feel gravity pulling me forward. When I get to the opening, Stacy is nearly shrieking. I stick my finger out first and hit a denim wall. She's wearing her pants. I stretch my head forward until my mouth is sticking out of her vagina into her pants. She's not wearing any underwear. The zipper is cold against my lips. She screams and slaps me through her pants. I don't recognise her screams. Maybe it's not Stacy. Maybe I'm somehow in someone else's vagina. Stacy, I cry through her jeans, trying to suck air through the fabric. Wait, she says. Don't come out. What's going on, I say. Don't come out, she says. Then I realise she's in the middle of driving a car. I can hear the traffic, I can feel the vibrations of the engine. Pull over and let me out, I tell her. No, she says, we're almost home. I can hear her breathing heavily. Her muscles are squeezed around my body like she's doing Kegel exercises. The air in her crotch is thick with her vaginal musk. Strange how much stronger the smell is on the outside than on the inside. I close my eyes and try to relax. My body all cut up and sore, my head swollen and bruised, my hangover now hitting me at full strength. All I want to do is sleep. Stacy parks and gets out of the car, walking bow-legged up the sidewalk, holding one hand around her humongous pregnant belly and pushing my head back into her crotch with the other. When she gets into the house, she unzips her pants and I'm finally able to breathe fresh air. The morning sun comes in and blinds my eyes. Are you okay in there? She says. I see her hair drapes down over the opening like she's trying to peek inside to see me. No, I tell her. I watch the floor as she walks to the couch, pulls off her pants and sits down. She screams as I crawl out of her, probably going to give her some kind of infection with those dirty overalls trailing mud and grit inside of her. Once I'm halfway out, I push off the edge of the crotch and land face first on the hardwood floor. She pulls away from me until my legs and feet slip out. I look back at her. She's holding her crotch, writhing in pain. You okay? I ask. When I get closer, she wraps her arms around me and kisses me. I thought you were gone, she said. Her eyes teary at me. I waited forever. I'm sorry, I say. She looks at the boots and overalls. Where did this come from? From inside of there. It flippin' hurts, she says, pushing me in the chest. After getting out of the grubby overalls and showering off Stacy's dry juices from my entire body, we sit on the dining room table, drinking coffee, and I tell her everything that happened to me. Her eyes go wide as I speak. There's a whole world inside of me, she says, proud of herself. Well, I say, the world isn't really inside of you, but the doorway to the other world is inside of you. No, you don't understand, she says. The world really is in me. It's just really small. She nods her head with a big smile. Why do you say that, I ask. When you went inside of me, I could feel you in there. I could see you through my skin. And you were getting smaller. The deeper in you went, the smaller you became. I saw your head moving against the inside of my belly at first, as it was regular size. But as it moved deeper, it shrunk to the size of a Barbie doll head. Then it was so small I couldn't see it anymore. But I could feel you inside of me. I could feel you getting smaller and smaller until inside of me and further in you went, until I couldn't feel you anymore. I think by that time you were microscopic. Maybe, I say. The whole world must have some kind of tumour the size of a pea. She says, hiding somewhere in my womb. So I was really just inside of you this whole time? Uh-huh, she says, smiling.
Yeah.
So is this what you guys had in mind when you said TripleJump was changing for 2023? 'Cause if so, it's great.
Thank you, Nexus, for the 100 bits. I don't know if this is what anyone had in mind, but it's definitely something, eh? That girl you saw, Stacy said, eating a piece of cinnamon toast. Did she have slimy horns? I don't know, I said. It looked like she had bunny ears. Maybe she's my imaginary friend when I was a kid, all grown up. I didn't get a good look at her, I say. I wish I could remember her name, Stacy says. My memories of her seem like a dream. I don't remember it hurting when she came in and out of my vagina. She's more like a genie coming out of a bottle. A ghost? Yes, she must be the ghost that I hear inside of me. She did move a little funny, I say, but she didn't look like a ghost. Who knows what ghosts look like, Stacy says. The skeleton had turned to a thick film on our bedroom floor. You ruined my blanket, the wholesome game book, I think the 20 bits. You ruined my blanket, she says to me, bundling up the fluffy blanket stained with skeleton juice. I don't apologise. Why do you think it melted like that? Who knows, she says. Maybe it just wasn't suitable for this world. It looked like it was doing fine before I smashed its head. Maybe that's just the way people from my womb world die, she says. We watched the puddle of a corpse for a while. Are you going to call in sick today? I ask. No, she says. Can't. Let's get some sleep then, I say. Luckily, neither of us has to go to work until the afternoon. We curl up in bed together without a blanket. She wraps me in her arms like a teddy bear, the way she always does, and falls asleep against my forehead. My hand is squished against her belly, probably pressing into the clouds of the tiny world inside of her. Chapter 9. Chapter 9. R.I.P. Sigmund Freud. He would have loved the Haunted Vagina live stream. He would have loved it. He would have loved it. Chapter 9. Stacy's gone before I wake up. We didn't set an alarm. I already missed the bus. Downtown Donut really lays into me for my freshly shaved head. I'm part Jewish, I tell him. So was Adolf Hitler, he says. I give him the rest of my honking huge burrito so he'll leave me alone. Too sore, too hungover, too late to mess around. When I get to the call centre, sit down at my computer station if I'm perfectly on time, rather than 2 hours late. I realise that if I really shouldn't have bothered coming in today. I still reek of sex, even after showering. My head is pounding. I look like I've gotten into a fight. Yeah, I don't know. You look horrible, Chaz says to me, his pants pulled above his belly button. He's the insanely hyperactive portly guy who always invites me to karaoke parties. Yeah, I tell him. Looks like you've been skateboarding, he says. I was pretty good at skateboarding in junior year. We should go skateboarding sometime. Sure, I tell him. He just stands there smiling at me, shifting his weight from side to side. I ignore him, turn on my computer and log into the queue. I can hardly move my fingers. They are swollen, dirt crammed under my fingernails. The large scab in my palm making it difficult to close my hand. My fingers are very pale, except for the fingertips, which are dark red for some reason, like I've cut off circulation at my knuckles. The discoloured skin feels odd. It's not really sore, but it's very sensitive when I type on the keyboard. Chaz is still standing there, fidgeting with something behind my computer. I dial Stacy's work before the customer can call. Her friend Lisa tells me that she never came into work today. She'd called in sick. She wondered why I didn't know. Where's Stacy? Where's Stacy? It's the hardest day of work since the time I drank a fifth of Jack Daniels the night before and came in with only 3 hours sleep. Stacy isn't there when I get home. There's a grocery bag on the counter, a note saying she'll be back later. I take another shower. I've started cutting words out now. I've taken another shower. I've tried to wash the dirt out of my fingernails without much luck. My reddened fingertips are extra sensitive under the hot water. Yeah, they're bruised pretty bad. They'll probably hurt even worse tomorrow. And that crappy call centre job requires fast typing when the customers are on the line. Screw them. I eat a Hot Pocket and wait around for Stacy to come home, but get tired of sitting on the couch or watching awful stand-up comedians on Comedy Central who talk more about their lame political views than tell jokes. I walk to the bedroom, my feet still sticky against skeleton residue, and I go to sleep. I hear Stacy come home about 3 in the morning. I get out of bed wondering where the heck she's been. She has a bunch of shopping bags that fill the living room. You're going back in, she says. I don't think so. What's all this stuff, I ask. Supplies, she says. Where the heck were you all day? Getting this, she tells me, digging into a bag to retrieve a cigarette carton. She opens it, pulls out a wad of newspaper and gives it to me like a birthday present. I unravel it. It's a gun. You'll be able to fight them, she says. Fight who, I ask. The skeletons, if they give you any trouble. I'm not going back in there, I say. Are you kidding? She says. This is the most fascinating thing that's ever happened to me. Maybe the most fascinating thing that's ever going to happen to anyone. You're going to be my explorer. You're going to chart the world for me. What? And I'm going to write a book about it, she says. Steve, I finally realised what I want to do with my life. I knew there was a reason why I was special. Villa Fandan, thank you for resubscribing. Until today, I always thought it was a good thing we live in a society where most people are illiterate. Oh, illiterate. Oh, yeah. I'm not as adventurous as you are, I say. Don't worry, she says. You just have to go a little farther than last time, and then tomorrow you can go a little farther than that, and a little farther, and so on. Eventually, we're going to assemble a team to accompany you. Are you going crazy, I ask? A team? Well, are you going to invite some spelunkers over and spread your legs for them? You're not taking this seriously, she says. I'm taking this very seriously, I say. I just don't think that you hear what you're saying. It's a chance of a lifetime, she says. It'll be dangerous, but it's worth the risk. I sit on the couch and put a throw pillow on my lap. Look, she says. I got you a digital camera so you can take pictures, and walkie-talkie so we can communicate, and climbing gear. I'd like to get a video camera later on. Perhaps there's even a way I can watch the feed on a monitor from out here. How is this stuff even going to fit inside you? I say. I can barely fit in myself. Yeah. I had to be shaved and greased down. Oh, it's not reading it because you did a swear word. What is a swear word? Oh, vagina. Let's see. I'll read it in a sec.
Yeah.
Happy 420 BBBB blazed my dude's Lord 16 dab. I really wish I wasn't able to read or hear. Here are some reading jokes regardless. What types of books do pines read? Poetry books. Ha ha ha. Why was the mathematics book sad? It had too many problems. Hi-e. What do you call a robot who likes books? A redbot. Ho ho ho. Why did the librarian get kicked off the plane? Because it was overbooked. Ha-ooh-ooh. Why was the band named Books? So no one would judge them by their covers. Hi-hoo.
Yeah.
BBBBBBBBBBBB haunted BBBBBBBBB lady parts BBBBBBBBBBB scary BBBBBB demon BBBBBBB blaze it.
There's one more coming. Maybe.
Yeah.
Alexa play Vahajay by Cupcake.
Vahajay. Next is thank you for the 500 bits. Flippin' blazed out, oh my god. Spooky Vagina and take away Chicky Alfredo. Ashton Blushin. Thank you for the 500 bits. Lord Watch for the 100 bits and the jokes. Stephen, thank you for the 100 bits. And Lolly, thank you for the 100 bits. Alexa, play for JJ by Cupcake. Anyway. How is this stuff going to fit inside of you? I can barely fit in myself and I had to be shaved and greased down. You'll still go in naked, she says, but I got this vinyl bag we can use we can tie to your ankles. It will slide through easily if we oil it. I bought tons of lubricant too. She empties a bag full of baby oils and tubs of petroleum jelly. I also got you a sleeping bag and some food, she says, if you want to camp out overnight. I'm not camping out in your vagina overnight, I tell her. Not in my vagina, she says. In my womb. Chapter 10. 6 more chapters, 40 more pages. It isn't hard for her to persuade me. She knows I'll do anything for her. The next thing I know, I'm back in her vagina, crawling through the flesh tunnel with a bag tied to my ankle. Can you hear me? Stacy asks with a walkie-talkie. I can hear her all around me. Yeah, I tell her. I can feel her smile. She's so excited. They should have called it womb at the inn. Get out. When I peek my head out of her other end, I brace myself carefully. I don't want to get shot out again. I told Stacy not to masturbate while I was in there. Last time it could have killed me. She agreed but seemed pretty disappointed. I'm surprised she didn't do it anyway, just to tease me. The world looks about the same. The sky is still cloudy and purplish. My axe is still on the side of the cliff. The ladder is still in pieces on the ground. I hammer a spike into the side of the cliff. It bleeds a little. Then I attach a cord to the peg and propel down. I'm in, I tell Stacy. Are you safe? She asks. Her voice is accompanied by static. Yeah, I tell her. I open the greasy bag and pull out a towel to wipe off the petroleum jelly. I insist on taking that along. Then I put on some clothes and hiking boots and a thick jacket. Stacy was nice enough to get me a new jacket to keep warm. I put the pistol in the jacket pocket. I've also got a hunting knife that I strapped to my ankle. What else have I got here? Not much. The digital camera, a few energy bars, a water bottle. Stacy agreed I didn't have to stay overnight, so I left the sleeping bag behind. But she wants me to stay for as long as I can. I'll see what I can do. I put everything in my jacket pocket and leave the bag by the side of the cliff. I take a picture of the fleshy entrance, take a picture of the landscape, then I urinate against a tree. What are you doing? Stacy asks. Nothing. Just about to move on, I say. I decide to follow the old fence and cliff rather than enter the forest. Probably easier to get lost in the forest. Keep talking, me, Stacy says, started cutting into the words. You're going to distract me, I say. I need to stay alert. I'm anxious, she says. I don't respond. Further up, the fence ends in a rotten wooden mailbox. I open it up. It's filled with mud. I stand back and take a picture of it. Nearby, there's what appears to be a trail going into the woods, mostly grown over, but it looks like it could be some kind of path. I take a picture of the trail. You should have gotten us a pair of those camera phones, I tell Stacy. I know, she says, tonight. I can barely hear you through the static, I say. You should have gotten better walkie-talkies. I hear her trying to talk, but there's way too much static. I try walking back along the cliff until it clears up. It doesn't clear up. Stacy, I say. She says something. I think she's trying to tell me to keep going. I turn off the walkie and put it in my jacket and take the trail into the forest. Branches have grown over parts of it, and I find myself hunched over walking through, scraping my arms and neck on thorny twigs. I wonder what kind of trees they are. They look normal enough. Maybe they're different than the trees on the outside world. Maybe there's some small differences that make them unusual. I take a picture of the tree. The trail widens a little once I get through the trees, still grown a bit with grass. Farther down it meets another trail, a crossroads. The other trail is also overgrown, like it hasn't been used in ages, but it's much wider. The path I'm on seems to disappear into the trees ahead, so I take the new route. It brings me into a clearing. The whole place is silent and motionless. No wind, no thunder in the clouds, no birds chirping. I check the gun in my pocket to make sure I know how to work the safety. I'm not experienced with guns. I don't even know what kind this one is. It looks almost fake, like some kind of movie prop. Not sure how many bullets it has. There's a clip in there. 9 bullets maybe? 12? I have no idea. My best defense is if I came across anything dangerous would be to run away. I put the gun back in my pocket and take another picture of the surroundings. The picture looks pretty good so far when I scan through them, just like ordinary photos taken into the real world. After the clearing, I get onto a dirt road. It doesn't look very well travelled either, but it is a road. There's also a river here, but I don't hear the sound of water. I go to it and take a picture. The water is green and reddish, filled with algae. The water doesn't seem to be moving. It stretches into the distance, but it's still at the pond. But it's as still as a pond. Okay. I take a picture of it, check the walkie-talkie. It's all still static. Stacy? No response at all. My fingers are itchy. The red fingertips feel like the circulation is cut off and the oxygen isn't getting to them. Pins and needles. I shake them and clench fists, then try to ignore them. I take the dirt road It curves through the forest, then widens up. I eat an energy bar. There are clacking noises up ahead, echoes through the woods. I pull out the gun and continue. The noise gets louder as I go. Sounds like breaking tree branches. Something is moving up ahead. A figure walking across my path, strolling through the woods. That girl I saw outside the cabin. She's smacking trees with a stick as she walks. I take the safety off. This time, I don't hide. I just stand there. She's not 50 feet from me. Just walking through the woods. She doesn't notice me. Once she's out of sight, I jog up to the trail where she was standing. I see her strolling between the trees, smacking branches with a... It's not a stick. It's a skeletal arm. She swings it around, stumbling through the forest in some kind of daze. Her paper white butt jiggling as she walks. Chapter 11. I really hope he doesn't, sleep with this weird other woman. I follow the girl through the woods, keeping my distance. Her walk is very odd. It's like footsteps don't have any weight. Stacy's right. She's like a ghost. There are still clacking sounds in the woods, echoing around me. It isn't just the girl hitting the trees as she walks. It must be the trees themselves. Or maybe it's something Stacy's doing from the outside. I lose her. She disappears in the trees ahead. I push forward, putting my hands into my jacket pocket to hide the gun. Up ahead, the clacking noises grow louder. I get to another dirt road. To the right, there's a bridge, and farther down there appears to be buildings. I don't see a girl on the road in either direction. I pull out my camera and take some pictures. The bridge is wrought iron with thick black wires twisted into spires on the side. It was once artistically designed, but now it seems melted, burned. It squeals at me when I step on it. The clacking noises are furious around me. I look over the side of the bridge into the crevasse. Skeletons. There are dozens of them down there, animated like the ones that came out of Stacy in the bedroom. They race through the gravel towards me, staring up at me with hollow eyes, trying to climb up the sides of the crevasse to get to me. I keep the gun in my pocket. There's too many of them. If they can get out of there, I'd have to run. I wait to see what they do. But they just scrape at the side of the rocks, unable to climb. Many skeletons don't bother trying, just wandering around the reddish moss. There are many bones down there, and pieces of bones scattered across the landscape. I take a picture of them like there are animals in a display on the zoo. One skeleton just stands there watching me as I cross the squealing bridge to the building on the other side. I'm not saying it's a story, but my nose just started bleeding. It might be the story. It's a small town up ahead, a village, just as quiet and dead as a log cabin in the woods. But these buildings are different. They seem to be made by the same architect who built the bridge. Most of the houses are wrought iron. They look melted, twisted, burned. The windows are curled and wavy. One of them bubbles outwards. Even the doors and doorways are warped. Some are wide on the top of the frame, then thin at the bottom where they meet the floor. Other doors are so distorted you couldn't possibly open them. One building is without a door. I step inside. The insides are also black, crispy, everything made of wrought iron. The floor, the furniture, the chairs are warped and twisted into curly designs. A table that looks like an egg with a broken yolk. There are shelves here filled with dolls, just like the log cabin. The dolls are also black and warped, like they've been burned and turned to charcoal. I grab one. It's hard like metal. I don't think it's wrought iron though. It's something else. In the next room there are black statues of people, a mother holding a child, the baby dripping through her arms like a wet dough. The man in a rocking chair, his head ballooned and folding over. I take a picture of them. I go through the buildings. There aren't any people, just assorted wrought iron statues of people. Dancers with limbs stretched out like they were made of taffy. An old man with boiled skin like a leper. A girl that has mostly become a puddle on the ground. I take pictures of them all. The town continues up on a winding hill. Ahead there are sculptures of wrought iron trees, wrought iron benches through wrought iron fences. Take pictures of the road ahead, but don't follow it. I think there has been more than enough for today. I don't think I'm ready to explore any more of this world alone. Stacey's going to have to find a team of explorers to accompany me if she wants me to return. Chapter 12! Oof, gang. And we've got 30 more pages. We're just in this world now for the rest of the book. Oh, I've just skipped ahead. I think it might be worth carrying on. Ugh, before I get back to the bridge, a soft breeze creeps down the road, carrying with it a woman's cries. I look back. The crying is coming from somewhere in the town. Could it be that ghost girl? I follow the cries, listening. Stacy thinks the ghost girl was her imaginary friend when she was a kid, all grown up. But do ghosts grow up? Maybe there are many ghosts here that look the way she does. Maybe Stacy's ghost friend is also up here. Somewhere, still a little girl. Oh, to be deaf. What am I going to go up to? Up ahead, the cries turn to wails. I walk up the hill deeper into the town. The houses are much larger up here. They're small, but there are 2 or 3 stories high. Their roofs stretch over the road above me like trees. I take more pictures. The cries are coming from one of those houses. I can hear them coming out of a window. When I slap open a square metal door, the cries stop. I search the ground floor. It's empty with statues and furniture. There's nobody here. I can take the winding stairs. They are melted and curly. They are so melted and curly that they're hard to climb them, and so thin in places that only 1 foot fits on each step. I hear crying at the top of the stairs. Not loudly though, just gentle sobbing coming from a bedroom at the end of the rolling hall. Peeking my head inside, there's a black statue of a child curled up in the corner, as if crying into its knees. I enter the room. In another corner facing the statue is the girl I saw in the woods, also curled up on the floor, crying into her knees, still holding the skeletal arm she carries like a walking stick. I don't speak, just examine her as she sobs. Her skin is corpse white with red splotches on her hands, feet and chest, short cinnamon hair and some weird pink horns growing out of her head like long slimy tumours. Just how Stacy described her imaginary friend. The girl stops crying when she notices me. She blinks a few times, then sits up. You're alive? She asks. Her voice is both scratchy and squeaky. Yeah, I say. She kinks her neck and stretches her cheeks into a coy smile. Then she lunges at me. I fall back, trying to pull the gun out of my pocket, but she catches me too quickly. She wraps her arms around me and hugs me as tight as she can. Alive, she says, just holding me for a while, rocking me back and forth. I don't know what to do but hug her back. Her skin is like latex, much more smooth than normal flesh, much squishier as well. She looks at me, flicks her eyelashes. Her eyes are cherry red. I love your feel, she says, caressing my cheek with her plastic hands. She seems so unnatural, but she doesn't look or feel like a ghost. Her eyes are very large and her mouth is kind of small. She's more like a computer-generated cartoon character. Oh, maybe this is her. From the front of the book. That's her. She steps back from me, her footsteps weightless, her shadow looks all wrong. No, she's exactly like a CGI character. She's like Jar Jar Binks. It's actually what it says. She's like Jar Jar Binks. Why come to me? Asks the girl. I open my mouth to speak. Did you come to play? Asks the girl. Sure, I say. She smiles. Her pointy eyebrows always seem to be curled down, like she's angry or annoyed, even when she smiles. What's your name? She asks. Steve, I say. Ew, she says. I hate that. I snicker, but she doesn't laugh with me. Just stares at me with her annoyed eyebrows like I'm the oddest thing she's ever seen. What's your name? I ask. Fig. Fig, she says. Nice name, I tell her. She looks in another direction for a little while, like she's forgotten I'm in a room with her. Can I take your picture? I ask. She's still forgotten about me. I take her picture. When I check to see the picture come out on the digital camera, she looks like a still shot from a video game. I've been wanting someone to play with, she says. Are you all alone? I ask. She makes a face at me like something smells funny. She takes me out onto the street. There's a rock, she says, pointing at a tiny pebble in the road, as though it was something I'd be interested in. He's dumb. Home is better, she says. We walk farther up the hill. Fig keeps talking to me in a creaky voice about the stupidest things. I fell down here, she says, pointing at a patch of dirt. That's mean, she says, putting a stick in the road. Those are funny, she says, pointing at a mushroom patch. Where's Pachiti? Oh no, that's not Pachiti. Oh, this guy. This is Brian Bumblepiss. Yeah. She takes me out onto the street. Oh, I've said that bit. I just walk with her, watching her unnatural footsteps and bouncy latex flesh. She looks like she could be Stacy's age, but she seems pretty young. Early 20s? Maybe it's just her personality that makes her seem younger. She doesn't seem to need clothing. Her red feet don't get hurt against the ground. Her skin doesn't shiver when the wind picks up. She doesn't even have nipples or pubic hair to hide. I take another picture of her. Do you remember someone called Stacy? I ask her, interrupting something that she was saying about the complete different names she has for each cloud in the sky. She says, Stacy says I don't exist. You were friends when you were kids, I ask. Stacy's not my friend, she says, pouting. We continue up the road. The wrought iron houses become normal houses. I pause to take another picture. The black metal stoops halfway through the homes here. One half is wooden and perfectly constructed. The other half is distorted and black. I point to the black and ask the girl, what is that? That's the cancer, she says. Cancer? I ask. It took everyone away, she says. The town ends at the top of the hill, but the path continues. Where are we going? I ask. To dinner, she says. There are skeletons walking in the forest, clacking their bones against trees as they move. Friendly Zephrans, she says to me. The skeletons don't pay attention to us, dancing in the woods like they're held up by strings. Fig lives in the mansion at the top of the hill, a blue-violet doll's house as big as a ski lodge. Everybody else lives there, she says. It seems ridiculous after what we've been through so far, but the phrase bouncy latex flesh has really creeped me out. Okay. Chapter 13. Only 3 chapters left. Fig doesn't live alone in this world as I suspected. There are other people here too, living in the mansion. All old, she says. I can't play with any of them. They are all just as alien as Fig, some of them more so. They are also like three-dimensional cartoon characters, and just like cartoon characters, they are proportioned oddly. Some have large gorilla bodies with tiny little legs, some are thin with noodle arms. She gathers them all to dinner so they can meet me. I sit at the end of a table next to Fig. There are a little over a dozen of them, many of them couples, and the couples all look similar. The green spiky man and woman look to be married, the yellow long noses look to be a couple, and an even older yellow long-nosed couple sits across from them, probably their parents. Only one of them looks like Fig, an old woman sitting next to her with deep jowls, probably her mother or grandmother. Everyone is very sluggish and droopy, all of them very old. I take pictures of them, then introduce myself. They just look at me for a second when I speak, then look away. They don't understand you, Fig says. Only I talk like you. People speak under their breaths mumbling. I can't even hear them. Fig speaks them in their language. It sounds kind of like Chinese. I told them you're my new playmate, she says. They all nod at me, talking in loud, cracking voices among themselves. After maybe 20 minutes of socialising, we are served by Fig's relative. Only we aren't served food, we are served crafts. Some of them get balls of yarn, some get puzzles, most people get dolls to paint. I get modelling clay. Fig sticks her tongue out at my clay like it's gross. She's bouncing in her seat, excited to work on painting a skull that chatters its teeth at her. I thought we were going to have food, I ask her. She doesn't know what I'm talking about. We sit here for what seems like 3 hours before Fig's mum collects our crafts and takes them away. I tried to make a sculpture of a cowboy boot, but it wasn't turning out, so I just made an abstract spiky steak. Fig's relative looks at it like it's something pornographic. All the people get out of their chairs and stretch, stepping away from the table. I slip away when they aren't looking, go out to the porch. I take pictures of the surroundings. From up here I can see almost everything. I can see the cliff where I entered in this world. It stretches all the way around us like we're in a crater. The entire world is only about 20 square miles. I need to get back. Stacy's probably wondering why I'm taking so long. I try to get hold of her on the walkie-talkie. Stacy, are you there? I say, but it's still static. What are you doing? I hear Fig's creaky voice behind me. I turn around, putting the walkie-talkie back in my pocket. I'm leaving, I tell her. You're not leaving, she says. I need to get back to Stacy, I say. We haven't even played yet, she says. I thought we just did, I say. She wiggles her nose at me. We just had dinner. I said I wanted to play after dinner. Dinner took too long, I tell her. I need to go now. But Mum says you could play with me forever if I want, she says. Maybe another time, I say. I turn and walk away from her. No, she shrieks at me. I keep moving. Once I get down to the black metal houses, I look back. She's following me, angry-faced, fists clenched. What a freak. I'm definitely not coming back to this world by myself again. Zephrans, 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 she cheers out behind me. I turn around. She's facing the woods, looking at skeletons that we passed earlier. They're coming out of the forest towards her. She turns and looks at me, burning red eyes turns and looks at me, burning red eyes at me. Okay. The skeleton comes up behind her and stops moving. They seem to be at her command. Bring him back, she says. Then the skeletons charge. I run. I could shoot the 5 skeletons chasing me, but it's easier to just run away. Flying down the hill as fast as I can, I hear clacking noises coming out from the buildings I pass. Skeletons are coming out of the forest behind the houses. Up ahead, dozens of skeletal figures stagger down the road towards me. I didn't notice it before, but the skeletons also look computer generated, like they just came out of an episode of Hercules: The Legendary Journeys starring Kevin Sorbo. It's like a very niche reference to put in your weird book. They surround me in the road. I take the safety off my pistol and charge into them, firing point blank at their skulls when they get too close. Bones explode into baking soda as I dart through. More of them come out of the woods, dozens of them from all directions. They're closing in on me. I run out of ammunition and take the hunting knife from my ankle. I stab one of the skeletons and the knife goes stuck inside of their nose hole. Oh my god, I'm struggling to read now. As I'm trying to pull it out, skeletons grab my arms, wrap around my back, seize my legs. The knife falls out of my hand and I'm picked up off the ground. Clacking noises all around me as they raise me over their heads. Their rubbery bones cut off the circulation in my elbows as they bring me back to Fig. Take him to the mine, she says. Nobody will hear him there. She leads the skeletal crew into the forest, carrying me for what seems like a mile. I struggle to free myself, but there's too many of them. I'm taken down into a field of orange flowers, stripped naked, then they throw me down a mine shaft. Chapter 14. I'm not too hurt when I fall. The ground is blubbery and I bounce off it like a trampoline. I'm about 30 feet down. There's no way to get back up. It's more like a well than a mine shaft. Fig looks down at me from the circle of sky. You're not going anywhere, she says, her voice more scratchy than squeaky now. I need to go home, I tell her. I don't belong here. You have to play with me forever, she says. I need to get back to Stacy, I tell her. She'll forget about you, she says, like she forgot about me. But I love her. She stares down at me for a while. Then she leaves. The ground is blubbery. You heard me correct. It's blubbery. I wait for hours. She doesn't come back. I'm trapped, just standing here under the light from above. There's not a nighttime or daytime in this world. It's always in between, like dawn or dusk without sun in the sky. I sit down. The ground is wet and fleshy. I rub my hand on it. It's warm. It's Stacy's flesh. I must be at the bottom of their world, where the earth meets her body. What the hell am I going to do? What if I never get out of here? What if I never see Stacy again? I lie on my belly and embrace the fleshy ground to get closer to my love. My cheeks become wet with tears, or maybe it's just the sweat rising out of the skin below me. I drift into sleep, absorbing the sound of Stacy's heartbeat vibrating through my entire body. I almost forgot this was all inside a vagina. Yeah, it's easy to forget. With great writing, it's easy to forget. Time passes, it seems like weeks. My skin is changing. It's becoming rubbery. The redness of my fingertips has spread down to my wrists. My chest and feet are also red. Slimy balls are growing out of the sides of my head. I'm becoming like Fig. I haven't eaten anything since my last energy bar, but I haven't been hungry or thirsty at all. I should have died of thirst by now. I believe my new skin is absorbing nutrients from the atmosphere. Stacy's body must feed this world in a way that they would feed a baby in its womb. People don't need to eat or drink here. I've taken to talking to the ground as if it's Stacy. I tell her how happy I am to still be with her, even though we can't see each other. I'm sure she feels the same way, comforting her lonely nights by knowing I'm still inside her, thinking about her. My voice starts to get scratchy. I just speak to her in my head. I awake to the sound of cracking coming from the back of my head. Then a tearing sound down my spine, as if my flesh is being unzipped from neck to pelvis. I'm unable to move as my body opens up. My bones and muscles separate. A skeleton crawls out of me. I leap away, kicking at the creature scurrying across the sweaty ground. My body is lighter. I feel my back. The wound is already healing, but my insides, hollow. My bones have become animated and detach themselves from my body. The skeleton squats down in front of me, examining my face, touching its own face with bloody fingers. It looks as confused as I am, wondering what it's doing outside of me. It doesn't have a brain or any vital organs. I'm not sure how it's able to function or think. I'm not sure how I'm able to function or move without any bones, but I'm able to move. My body feels almost weightless. My fingers curl around my body or around my wrists like rubber snakes. My head is softer without a skull, but it still feels as though something is guarding my brain. A thin layer of cartilage maybe, but it feels firm, but flexible, like a dolphin's back. The skeleton claws at my wormy toes like a kitten. No, I tell the skeleton. It clacks its teeth at me. Bad skeleton, I say. The skeleton wags its pelvis bone like a tail. Chapter 18. After a couple of days of playing catch with the skeleton, training it not to bite my feet, trying not to move so much so that the enormous wound on my back will fully heal, Fig finally returns. I'm completely like her now. The long, gooey horns, the red and white splotched flesh, the large eyes and small mouth, the bouncy latex skin. My movements are just as unnatural as hers, like I'm claymated or something, or computer generated. You're like me now, Fig says from above. Her screechy voice is needles to my ears. You do belong here. She drops a rope down to me. You have to play with me, she says. No running away. I'll be good, I say. My voice is alien. It is just as squeaky as hers. My voice box must have been turned to rubber. The rope is easy to climb with my new lightweight body. Probably even climb the cliff with ease. I look back at the skeleton, see the skeleton climbing the rope after me, chattering its teeth at my ankles. As soon as I get out, I'm going to take off. I need to get back to Stacy. Hopefully she'll still recognise me when I come out. Hopefully I'll be able to change back. Halfway up, Fig says, Don't think about running away. Don't think you can run away. Good Zephyrins are guarding the bridge. Bad Zephyrins are under the bridge. I keep climbing. The skeletons aren't going to stop me. If I have to start cutting off Fig's fingers until she orders them to go away, I will. Even if I have to kill her. Nothing's going to stop me from getting back to my love. We've got some real interesting stuff happening right now. Would you believe it's all happening inside of a vagina? Outside the mineshaft, Fig feels my new skin. I check it out myself in the new lighting. My nipples and body hair have disappeared. The hair on my head has grown in. I wonder if my eyes and hair have become red. Stacey's going to freak out when she sees me. Let's go play, Fig says, like an excited little girl. She's such a sad, lonely creature. No wonder she's always been crying, weeping out of Stacey's vagina for the past 20-odd years. I follow her through the field of orange flowers, just waiting for the right time to grab her. There aren't any skeletons with her, but that doesn't mean they aren't around. My skeleton follows behind us. I'm not sure whether it's on my side or hers. This is going to be fun, she says. What game do you want to play? I creaky say. She hops up and down at me. I go to grab her, but I fall over as the ground starts rumbling. An earthquake. What's going on, I ask. Is this the one? She says, looking around. I watch the trees thrashing over us. Follow me, she says, just in case. We run up the hills, stumbling on the shaky ground, trying to get to the highest peak in the valley. We enter the mansion and go up to the roof where all the other cartoonish people are standing. They're looking in the direction in the distance. Is this the one? Is this the one? Fig yells over the rumbling. What the hell is going on? I stand on the table to see the crowd, to see what they're looking at. They are all looking towards the cliff where I came from, but there's nothing out of interest over there. Wait a minute. Stacy's not... A geyser erupts out of the side of the cliff, bursting a burst of white fluid, then another burst of white fluid, then another. She is! Stacy's having sex! I can't keep my mouth closed. Like an avalanche, the valley fills with some guy's jizz. Some guy Stacy's cheating on me with. It's only been a few weeks and I'm still inside her. What is she doing? I step down from the table as the earthquake calms down. She didn't even use a condom. What the hell is she thinking? What if she gets a disease? She wouldn't have sex with me without a condom for months after we've been dating. She sent me to the doctor to make sure I was completely STI free. How could she? The crowd keeps staring off to the distance. This could be it, Fig says, pointing at a crater a couple miles away from the cliff. The lake of sperm oozes across the landscape, flooding the trees. Some houses, as the white gook enters the crater, people hold their breath and look up at the sky. Watch for it, Fig tells me, pointing at the clouds. I look up. The clouds scatter as if wiped away with a rag, revealing the dome-shaped purple sky. When the entire crowd leaps up with insane cheering as a pink film stretches across the atmosphere, covering us like a blanket. It happened, Fig cries. I don't have to ask what they are cheering about. I already know. Stacy's been impregnated. I drop to my butt and look away. My skeleton is in a corner, smacking spiders out of webs and chattering its teeth at them. I place my rubbery hands in my face. The tears feel foreign against my skin. Ha! Fig squints her face, pointing at me. You can't leave now. I wipe my eyes. I told you, you're going to play with me forever. Mum said so. She's never wrong. She's right. I can't leave. Not for a decade or two at least. The impregnation cut off the tunnel between this world and the other. We're no longer inside of Stacy's body. We're inside of her baby's. The opening on the cliff's face has disappeared. I'm trapped in here until a new one opens up. Once Stacy's child is old enough to let me through, and even then, I don't know if my new body will ever be able to survive out there. I wandered through the mansion, pacing the musty halls, ignoring the inhabitants, pushing Fig and my skeleton away from me whenever they tried to follow. How could Stacy do this to me? Not even a single month has gone by and she's already sleeping with somebody else. She's the one who forced me to come here. Why didn't she send somebody in to look for me? This can't be right. She loves me. She would never do this to me. Maybe it wasn't her fault. Maybe it was some kind of accident. Maybe some guy had volunteered to come into this world to search for me, but accidentally ejaculated while trying to climb through her vaginal tunnel. Or maybe the guy never believed her about the world in her womb. Maybe he just thought Stacy was some crazy chick and thought he could take advantage of her. You want me to enter your vagina? Sure, no problem. When he tried to climb inside, maybe Stacy just got swept up in the moment. She could have been so turned on that as he tried to enter her, they ended up screwing instead of saving me. Something I always hated about Stacy. She's the type of person who always gets swept up in the moment. Whenever she's having a good time with her friends, she always forgets about the plans she had with me. Whenever a guy flirts with her, she always flirts back, even when I'm standing right next to her. I know she loves me, but sometimes her emotions blind her and carry her away. For all I know, she would manage to tease me. It's just like Stacy getting turned on by the idea of having sex with some strange guy while I'm trapped inside of her. I'm sure the idea would have turned her on. I always hated her sick fetishes, like how she sometimes liked to choke me or choke herself while flipping. She had some kind of neck fetish. I especially hated it when she would lie on top of me and flip my throat. Like, she liked the feeling of my Adam's apple against her clit, and liked to choke me while riding her thighs. She also made me hum while she was grinding my neck so the voice box would work like a vibrator. I want to leave her for sleeping with another guy. I want to kick her out of my house and tell her I never ever want to see her again, but I can't. I'll never be able to leave here again for as long as I live. Chapter 16. I leave the mansion and stroll down the hill, trying not to look into the clear pink sky. It reminds me too much of Stacy. After passing a few houses, I realise I'm being followed by Fig. I stop and sneer back at her as she approaches, clenching my fists as if to punch her in the face as if she gets too close. What? I yell. It's bright out here, she says, completely unfazed by my anger. She wiggles her nostrils in the Hi, Ben. She wiggles the nostrils in the air as if trying to smell the pink of the sky. Let's get out of the bright, she says, wandering into an abandoned lime green house on the left. I watch her disappear into the house without looking back. I wait in the street for a while, staring at my rubbery red feet. She doesn't come back out to see what's keeping me. She's so odd, I decide to leave and continue down the road. But something prevents me from going. Something drives me to go into the house with Fig. Maybe I just don't want to go to the bottom of the hill. There are skeletons down there in the neighbourhood of black deformities, not to mention this enormous lake of some guy's rancid cum. Maybe I have nothing better to do. Maybe I just don't want to be alone. I find her upstairs, squatting in the hallway, her shiny rump sticking in the air as she pulls on carpet fragments. They like the attention, she says. I realise I'm checking out her arse when I see my reflection in one of her white butt cheeks and quickly turn away before she catches me. I pass her and into one of the bedrooms. It's filled with 3 beds, 3 dressers and a large window with chainmail curtains. A kid's room. We should play now, Fig says. I shrug. Fig attempts to kiss me. I turn my head away and she begins sucking on my neck with latex lips. I push her away. What are you doing? She pulls me by her hand towards one of the kiddie beds. We're playing, she says. Oh, already on cringe cam. Can't get much cringer than this. Her wormy fingers curl around my penis. Playing? This is what she meant by playing? She slips her tongue into my tiny mouth as she fondles my squishy member into erection. I shove her away. No. She looks confused at me. But we're supposed to play. I don't want to play with you. You're not for her anymore, she says, rubbing her arms. You're for me. She knows I'm thinking about Stacy. I clench my fists, my face turning red in Fig's cartoon eyes. I want to hurt someone. I want someone to feel my pain. Physically, I want to make somebody pay for all that's happened to me. As my rage builds, Fig watches me, masturbating at me. A vein in my forehead twitches as she wipes her greasy fingers across my lips and nostrils, just like Stacy used to do. Stacy always liked to see my reaction to the taste of her, to smell of her, even though she knew it pissed me off. 9999, yes, that's her. She's upsetting the internet. Oh, sorry, Lord Brotovich. Ben and Peter said this was alright. Anyway, carrying on. Where did I get to?
Welcome to the edgier TripleJump, folks.
Nexus, thank you. That'll be the end of TripleJump, I think. Suddenly my brain snaps and I find myself lunging at Fig, grabbing her by the elbows and squeeze her as hard as I can, trying to crush pain into her snake-like arms. Then I throw her to the ground as hard as I can, pin her down, and choke her the way Stacy used to choke me. I stop when I see my face. She's looking at me, confused, not hurt or scared. Not hurt or scared. I'm not sure what I'm trying to do. I take my hands away from her throat and look away from her, shamefaced. That's not how you do it, she says, beneath me. I feel her grabbing at my erection and pointing it onto her crotch. She rubs it again, her slippery opening, her breath cold on her neck. Then she grabs my butt with both hands and pulls me into her. Inside, it's like hot jelly or maybe rubber cement. She writhes under me with crooked smile, gripping my hips and pulsing against me. We kiss each other with our tiny mouths pressing against each other's smooth plastic skin. My rubbery penis pumps into her latex vagina, creating a loud, squeaky sound that echoes through the musty room. She doesn't have nipples, but I still lick her breasts as if they were there. It doesn't seem to do anything for her, though. Our sex feels far from human, more like snail sex or jellyfish sex, or Japanese anime sex, our boneless bodies twisting into inhuman positions. It's incredibly strange, but it might be the best sex I've ever had. An orgasm ripples through my entire body like the ocean waves under my skin. My testicles crack open and release 2 raw eggs that goo up and out of my shaft into Fig. She closes her eyes and leans back as the yolks sink deep inside of her. As the yolks pop, she lets out a sigh and curls her head deep into my shoulders, tears dripping down her cheek, pooling onto my neck. Hi, Kate. Hi, Kate, we're reading this book. We're reading this book. This is what I'm reading from this book. These are not just my own thoughts, okay, everyone? I wake up after a short snooze. Fig's cinnamon hair in my face, her drool on my chest. We're hardly able to both fit on this kid's bed, but we're so twisted around each other, neither of us are in danger of falling off. I unpretzel myself and slip out of the room, through the chainmail curtain onto the balcony. The warm of the bright pink sky glazes my face. The place isn't a ghost world, just a beaten down, lonely world. It must have been around for centuries, getting passed from host to host, mother to daughter, generation to generation. I can't even begin to imagine how this place was even created. Perhaps it was created by some kind of cosmic accident. Perhaps it's bioengineered by some kind of Asian Frankenstein. Or perhaps it's some sort of evolutionary mutation. Perhaps a long time ago in Asia, where Stacy was born, there was a village that had too many people but not enough food. Perhaps the situation went on for so long that evolution had to step in and do something about it. Perhaps 2 mutant females were born, each containing fertile worlds inside of them. Worlds that many villagers could move into. Worlds where its occupants wouldn't need food or water. Worlds that could sustain several villages. All that needed was to feed and protect the female hosts of the world. I looked out to the blackened houses down the road. Fig called it the cancer. Perhaps Stacy's mum had a disease that spread through her body, destroying her insides as well as the world within her. Perhaps she passed the world on to Stacy and gave birth to her before the cancer could destroy the entire world. Perhaps her mother died of the disease before she had a chance to tell Stacy what the secret place hidden in her belly. When she was adopted by her parents and brought to California, Stacy was forever cut off from the truth. That's it. If anyone knows the truth. I'm pretty sure the world was created so long ago that nobody really knows the truth anymore. Even the inhabitants of this world. After so many generations, the truth has probably been twisted, turned into a myth. These people have been detached from the outside world for so long, they probably doubt it even exists. They probably know about as much about it as we know about heaven. I'm going to miss them, Fig says, stepping into a balcony behind me. She looked at the sky. I think she's talking about the clouds. She had names for all of them. She talked about them as if they were real people. They were my friends. I truly envy the dead. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Not long left now.
Wonder what sexy books Ben and Peter are gonna read. TTJ Nerd Peter Slide.
Yeah, thank you for the 100 bits. I wrapped my arms around her. I don't know why. It's ridiculous that she's crying over the loss of some clouds, but the way I guess it's kind of cute. You're here though, she says. You're better. I wipe her cheek with my thumb. It makes it sound like a windshield wiper. You love me back, she says. I freeze the word love and step away from her. I never said I love you. We hardly know each other. But you changed for me, she said, petting my slimy horns, touching my skin. You're mine. I didn't want to change. It just happened. It's happened because you belong to me. Chapter 17. Fig and I get married eventually. I'm in love with her now. Maybe even more than I ever loved Stacy. Her cracking voice drives me wild. Her big cartoon eyes entrap me for hours. It was written, Fig's mum said, in her language, watching us as we move in the south wing of the mansion together, a long abandoned section that we are fixing into our home. My mother-in-law's language is Thai, or some kind of language that has evolved from Thai. I've been trying to learn it, but it'll take time before I can speak fluently. Fig tries to teach it to me, but her attention rarely stays focused on one project long enough to accomplish anything. I'm not sure where she learned English. At first I thought she picked it up from Stacy when they were kids, but I found some books written in English on some shelves in the mansion. Somebody who migrated to this world must have known the English language at some point, maybe Fig's father or an uncle. It's difficult to get straight to the point. Straight outside of Fig sometimes. She's definitely an odd one, but I love her so much. I love everything about her. This is the way Fig wakes me up in the morning. First, she goes outside for a walk. Once she comes back, she has a basket filled with something to give me. Usually a type of flower or a bundle of rocks or snails. She puts them on a blanket in some kind of design. It's always the same design, and I don't know what it means. It's some Thai symbol, but I believe it means love. After that, she rubs the red tip of her nose against the red tip of my nose, and I wake up and give her a kiss. If anybody would have done these things to me in the outside world, even Stacy, I would have been annoyed, but with Fig, they make me happy. She's so cute. But I think there's a reason that I'm in love with her. The reason I think she's so cute is because of what she's done to me. People in this world are born with unique DNA. They are born of species of one. Sometimes they match their parents, like Fig, but usually they're born completely alien from all others. When a female is within the vicinity of a male, she releases supercharged pheromones that alter the man's DNA to match her own. She will mutate into the male counterpart of her species. He will then mutate into the male counterpart of her species. Then they will become a species of two. I believe the pheromone also releases chemicals in a male's brain to act as aphrodisiacs. Because this is Fig. She's someone who lives inside the vagina. She lives in there. But every time Fig and I are together now, I can't help but jump all over her. It's more than usual horniness I would get in the outside world. It's some kind of deep, uncontrollable urge to mate with the only female of my species. Sometimes these feelings make it frustrating to be around Fig. Other times make me happy, euphoric. They make me love life, love myself, and especially make me love Fig more than anything. Fig is pregnant. Her belly stretches out like water balloons. She smiles, squinting like the bridge of her nose at me, and I put my new logs on the fire to keep her warm. My skeleton is curled up on the rug next to her rocking chair. Fig pets the back of its skull, its chattering teeth like a kitten's purr. I dig through old crates looking for interesting scraps for dinner tomorrow. In one of the crates in the back, I find a sculpture I made the day I met Fig and her family. I also find Stacy's digital camera and the walkie-talkie. The walkie still has batteries. I wonder if Stacy still has the other one. For weeks after she'd become impregnated, I tried contacting her on this, but there was always static. The tunnel to this world had been shut off, so I couldn't get anything through to her at all. Just out of curiosity, I take the walkie to the roof, sneak away from Fig while she's basking in the warmth of the fire with her eyes closed. The sores of the old mutant people fill the house. I'm careful not to wake them. Outside, the sky is clear of clouds. I can see the outline of the baby's arm up there and waving down at me from the heavens. Stacy, I speak into the walkie. The baby's arm jerks into the sky. I repeat, Stacy, are you there? A few times, just enjoying the landscape, breathing in the fresh air, not expecting anybody to answer. But somebody does. It's distant at first, hard to make out, but it gets clear. Steve, the voice says. It's Stacy. Her voice seems almost alien to me now. As my voice must sound like an alien to her. I'm still here, I tell her. There's a pause. Steve, is that really you? You sound so strange. I can hear her crying. I miss you so much, she says. I miss you too, I tell her. I think about you every night. I've kept batteries in the walkie-talkie just in case you ever wanted to reach me. I never gave up hope for you. That's why she flips another guy a few weeks after I went missing. How's the father of your child? I ask her. She pauses. I don't know, she says. Just some guy I met at a bar. I was so upset I didn't know what I was doing. I sit down in a wicker chair. How's your lover? She asks, almost annoyed. Fig? I ask. She's doing fine. We're pregnant. She'll be due any day now, same as you, I believe. She was my imaginary friend, wasn't she? From when I was a kid. Yeah, I say. So she was lonely. She was so lonely, she says. Her cry is always calling out. Oh, the music's finished. Oh, that's fine. We're almost finished now. I've only got one more page left. She was so lonely. Her cry is always calling out to me, begging me to send her somebody to love. She was always so sad and angry, but then, after you went inside me, there wasn't crying anymore. There was singing. She was happy. She was in love. My lips squeak as they rub against the receiver. I knew it, she says. I knew when you didn't come back, you two had fallen in love and you decided to stay with her. Hearing her happy voice day after day made me so jealous. Then it pissed me off. I hated you for what you did to me. I flipped the first guy I could find, hoping it would drown you two in his cum. I thought I did too. Her voice stopped coming out of me. My vagina was silent. I felt horrible. I thought I killed you. I would have sent somebody in to see if you were okay, but it doesn't stretch anymore. I was hoping you were still alive in there, inside of me. Yeah, I tell her, but the world isn't inside of you anymore. It's inside of your baby. I want to see you again, Steve, she says. I don't care how long it takes. Maybe you can come out of my daughter when she's grown up. You can be with me again. I'm not exactly human anymore, Stacy, I say. I don't think I can return to that world. Then I'll come to you. What? Stacy, I say. I loved you more than the whole world, but I've got a responsibility here. I've got people that need me. I've already moved on, she says. Oh, I know, she says. I'm married and have a child coming, I say. I know, she says, but... She pauses. Are you happy? She says. Yes, I tell her. I'm very happy. I just want you to be happy, she tells me. I am, she says. She cries into the walkie. Stacy, I say. Yes. I'll always be with you. She continues crying and the walkie cuts out. I think she turned it off or maybe threw it across the room. That's another thing I always hated about Stacy. She'd always cut me off in the middle of the conversation for the sake of being dramatic. The end. Wow. There we have it. The Haunted Vagina. We read that. We read it all 90 pages of it. We read it. This guy has written so many more books, and they're all equally as horrible sounding. But this was bad. This was bad. Somebody sent us this on the chat appeal. I can't remember who it was. If it was one of you in chat right now, I hope you're proud of yourself. There's an hour and 12 minutes, 2 hours and 12 minutes none of us will ever get back. And yeah, there we have it. The Haunted Vagina. I think maybe we all just need to sit in silence for another couple of seconds. Whenever life gets hard, I'm always going to be grateful to not be a rubber man inside of a vagina. Well, cool. Thanks for joining me for today's stream, everyone. I hope you had, I want to say fun, but fun doesn't really feel like the correct word to use in this kind of situation.
Think that author needs help. Put these bits towards your therapy sessions.
Fortis, thank you for the 100 bits towards my therapy. I'm definitely going to need it. Because, my God, probably going to go cry myself to sleep. Oh, well, Presidente, you missed so much. You missed so much. I don't know if this is going to be on the VODs channel. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to want this on the VODs channel.
Yeah.
Celebratory GeoGuessr next week to forget about this book. TTJ cheeky.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we'll do a celebratory GeoGuessr. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know what we can do next week. I haven't got a game on the docket that I want to read. So yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you've had fun. I hope you've enjoyed this in whatever way you could enjoy it. We'll raid the Codaholic lads, and we'll try. You can try and explain to everyone what it was that we did today, if you can. I don't know if you'll be able to, but we'll raid them anyway. I think it's just Owen, so he's going to be baffled. Thank you for hanging out with me, guys. I will see you tomorrow. We're playing... I don't know what we're playing tomorrow. I don't know. I can't remember. I was told, but I've forgotten. And we'll all recover from this in our own time, in our own space. Okay? Thanks for joining me today's stream. Have a fantastic afternoon, evening, sleep, whatever it is you're going to be doing. And I'll see you very, very soon. Love you, bye.